So before I start talking about those impacts, I think it's probably useful to review the alternatives so that you have them in mind. Just as a reminder, alternatives A and B rehabilitate the bridge. Alternatives C, D, and E replace the bridge. The rehabilitation alternatives are not typical rehab alternatives because of the deteriorated state of the bridge. They all include replacement of the deck and the deck support systems, repairing, repainting, and strengthening of the truss itself that supports the bridge, widening and strengthening the existing piers and footings, replacing the approach spans. Those are the supports that are on land underneath the bridge. So basically replacing all of the elements of the bridge except the truss, and even that needs to be dramatically strengthened. So here's a graphic depicting alternative A. So alternative A rehabilitates the existing bridge in the way I just described. It maintains a 2 through-lane cross-section, has a 2-level roundabout interchange. Oregon 43 traffic goes underneath the roundabout, and the bridge users are on top. Metering ramps have been added to the entrance points to the roundabout during peak hours. These work in a similar way to ramp metering on I-5 or I-84. In congested periods, the entrance of vehicles into the roundabout would be controlled by stoplights to make sure that the roundabout doesn't lock up. This is not typical of roundabouts, but it was determined by our roundabout designers as a necessary element to make them work in this location. Alternative A maintains the same connection with Tacoma as exists today and constructs a separate bike ped bridge to the north. So in this case, bikes and peds do not go through the roundabout. All alternatives provide bike ped access to trails on both sides of the river and the cemetery bike path. The circular symbol that you see on the bike ped path is a spiral ramp to take bikes and peds down to the Greenway Trail. Access to the cemetery, Powers Marine Park, and Staff Jennings is provided on the U-shaped road that goes underneath the interchange. Phase 1 and Phase 2 seismic retrofits are included. The river crossing would be closed during construction. Bike ped crossings could be maintained if the bike ped bridge were constructed first. So let's go on to alternative B. Alternative B is the second rehabilitation alternative. It also has 2 through travel lanes, the same roundabout on the west side, the same U-shaped access road to properties on the west side, and the same east side connection as alternative A. The big difference with this alternative is that the bikes and peds are on the bridge and go through the roundabout. In this case, bike ped activated signals would be installed at all of the crossing areas. Again, Phase 1 and Phase 2 seismic retrofits are included, and an optional temporary detour bridge is included in this alternative. You can see the dotted lines that show the outline of where that temporary bridge would be located. Alternative C replaces the existing bridge on its current alignment with a double-deck bridge. It includes a free-flow trumpet interchange on the west side and a Grand Avenue extension, which is a loop that goes underneath the bridge on the east side. Bikes and peds travel on the lower deck, not through the interchange, and have connections to both trails and the cemetery path. No access is provided off Oregon 43 to the cemetery in this alternative. Staff Jennings is displaced, so no access to that property is needed. And access to Powers Marine Park is provided from the north through Willamette Moorage Park. This alternative has 2 lanes of through movement for cars and trucks and a 3rd lane to facilitate traffic operations. Seismic standards for new structures would be met for all of the replacement alternatives, including this one. Alternative C would be closed during construction. Alternative D is a replacement bridge that would be widened to the south of the existing bridge. It includes a signalized interchange on the west side and a signal at 6th Avenue in Tacoma. So that's the 3rd of the interchange types that we're talking about. The cross-section shows 2 through travel lanes. This alternative would be constructed in stages to allow the river crossing to remain open during the construction period. Traffic would remain on the existing bridge while the new portion of the bridge to the south is built. Then traffic would be moved to the new portion of the bridge while the existing bridge is torn down and the second half constructed. And then the two halves would be connected together. Alternative E is a replacement bridge located on an alignment to the north of the existing bridge. It includes the same signalized west side interchange and east side connection as alternative D. The cross-section shows 2 travel lanes for autos and trucks, plus 2 dedicated lanes that would be allowed for transit vehicles only. It would remain open during construction because traffic would remain on the existing bridge while this new bridge was constructed. The last of the alternatives is the no-build alternative. We are required to consider a no-build alternative in the draft environmental impact statement. It's defined by Federal Highway Administration as an alternative that continues existing conditions through a 20-year period. So to keep the bridge open for 20 years, we would maintain the existing cross-section, we would keep the existing weight limits, so no buses or trucks, big trucks would be allowed on the bridge, there would be no seismic upgrade, and no correction of the various geometric deficiencies that exist now. But in order to keep it open for those 20 years, we would need to repair certain elements, including the replacement of the west approach spans. We would need to repaint all the steel, replace the expansion joints, replace the deck overlay, and repair the cracks that have been created in the bridge. So all of those repairs are needed to keep the bridge operating for this 20-year period.